With me is the Honorable Commissioner for Lands and Housing. He's already in the studio, Mr. Chaka Chukwumerije. Good morning, Honorable Commissioner. Thank you so much for coming on the show this morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right. And also in the studio is Surveyor KC Abaronye. He's the Surveyor General in Abia State. Good morning, Surveyor. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Good morning for having me too.
All right. Welcome. I think we should just start with the policy on issuance of certificate of occupancy. That was the last time you were on the show, Honorable Commissioner. I recall that that was when you just came up with that policy. You said 30 days, 30 working days, anybody that applies for certificate of occupancy in the state will get it. How has it been? What is the response like from the people?
The response has been good, and as a ministry, we have taken diligent efforts in to keep our word. So it's a policy statement which we're not going back on. It's tied to the ease of doing business. So the process of doing business in Abia, the process of interfacing with the Ministry of Lands and Housing has to be simple and seamless.
Okay, now to the surveyor. Let us look at that policy again. Before one gets certificate of occupancy in the state, what are those things that the person needs to have, first of all? Because there are some land documents today that do not have that CFO. And you know, the CFO has to be issued by the governor himself, I suppose, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what are those things one needs to have before you can even apply for the CFO and you get it in 30 days, just like the commissioner said?
Yeah, you need to have a power of attorney. And inside the power of attorney is supposed to be the survey plan. And you need to have tax clearance and all that. But the survey plan needs to be certified to make sure that it's an acceptable coordinate system before it can be approved for certificate of occupancy.
Who gives this survey plan you're talking about?
Yeah, the survey plan can either be given by government or also by private practicing surveyors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm a developer now, I can get my own surveyor, he'll give me the plan, and then I present to you. Is that correct?
Exactly.
So am I supposed to pay anything for me to get this survey plan approved?
Yes, if it has to do with a private survey, now there are private surveys when it's private land, or maybe government surveys when it has to do with government land. You know, if it's private surveys, definitely there are scale of fees you need to pay to the practicing surveyor you contacted to do the job for you. Then the practicing surveyor will now pay the required fees by the government in order to deposit the rare copy, which is the final deposition, domicile in the Ministry of Lands and Survey.
So what if the government is providing their own survey?
Okay, that's when it has to do with government survey.
Yeah,
when it has to do with government survey, in your allocation paper, then it has to do with government allocations.
Okay.
And in the allocation paper, there are specified fees that one has to pay.
Like how much?
For a plot of land, it has to be 50,000 naira.
Okay.
You need to pay to Abia State government. But if the size is is more than a plot, then the amount that will be paid will be determined by the director of state director of lands, Abia State.
Okay. Now let me come to you, Honorable Commissioner. Now the issue of this recertification of land titles, which you just came up with, in details, what is it all about exactly? Because most people do not know about it. I think the news just dropped a few days ago, and you gave like a 1 month time frame within which one can present or submit whatever land titles you have before one gets recertified for his property. Tell us more about this.
Okay, before I go into the details, in summary, the Abia State government is cleaning up its land registry.
Okay.
So through the recertification process, we are updating our land records. We are upgrading our survey data. The Surveyor General just mentioned about submitting survey plans, but a number of the survey plans we have are in the local and Nigerian origin, which has issues of accuracy. So part of the recertification process allows us to upgrade the survey data to UTM, which is more accurate. And in doing that, it sorts out the problem of overlapping allocations. Then we're also using the opportunity to recover statutory dues like ground rents, building leases that have expired, and also review the issue of development control approvals, change of use. It's also an opportunity for the government to expand its social register, Abia State social identification number, ABSIN registration, and all that. So it's a routine exercise, but the key reason why the government is embarking on recertification exercise is to clean up its land registry. So with one shot, sort out all these issues of double allocations, overlapping allocation, unrealized allocations, or people with plots of land that don't have access to their property, or those problem areas like MBC, Lodu, etc. So as we all know, it is a corrective regime. That's the essence of recertification. If I reference the KPMG report, which was just released, tied to the controversial 10 billion airport, you'll find a whole section of that report dedicated to land transactions, where title documents that were issued without due process, right? Recertification gives you better confidence in the title document you're holding in your hand. So you're not holding tissue paper. You're holding a title document that you can take to the bank. That is the essence of recertification exercise, to correct our land administration system, to clean up our land records, and to recover on our statutory dues.
Okay, so if you're talking about those land title documents, so if one brings his land title document to you, is it one of the requirements one needs to submit before his property is recertified with this policy?
Yes, that's the first and foremost process. The recertification process has 6 processes. The first process is why I'm in the radio, the publicity process, why you are aware that as a recertification exercise, we give the reason why we are doing a recertification exercise. The second aspect of the process is what you're asking for. What do you submit?
Yes.
All I need every Abian to come to the Ministry of Land and Housing and submit, or submit it online, is your title document or your claim to any land. So this actually affects everybody that has a property, land or property. If you have the existing title, just bring it to the Ministry of Lands and Housing. And before the collection process can be submitted, can be concluded, number 1, we ensure that you complete your obscene registration. Number 2, the recertification fee of 50,000 is paid. And number 3, the title document will be collected. After that second process is concluded, we then enter into the third process, which is the verification process, where we break down going through the land records, ensuring that they're up to date, going through the development control process. When we finish the verification process, then we then enter into the fourth process, which is the recertification process, where we issue you a new title document. The fifth process is when we isolate what we call the problem areas. Areas that are prone to litigation. Transactions relating to PIU or ABSEDA, transactions relating to LODU, transactions relating to MBC, transactions relating to cattle leverage, transactions relating to so one or two other places that I can't recall. Those are given special attention, and as a government, we then resolve the issues relating to unrealized allocations in those areas, double allocations in those areas once and for all. Then the last aspect of our process is outcomes. What do we want to achieve as a government in terms of recertification process, and did we achieve that? One key thing we want to achieve is to have a cleaner land record, because our ambition as a government is to be number 1 in terms of transparency, value, and efficiency in our land administration system in Nigeria.
So you just talked about MEC, PIU, and the rest of that. Are there issues with land allocation with those areas?
In terms of what we inherited, right? When they say sometimes people equate land to okoloka, or land transactions are tedious. Yeah. So you find out that we have a large number of transactions from the PIU area that have to do with one issue or the other. Maybe people have been given allocation letters and they haven't realized that allocation letters, or they don't know where the land is, or somebody has an allocation letter and he has no access to this plot of land, or there are litigations, you are given an allocation letter and communities don't allow you to possess your possession in quotes, as we have in the MBC and all that. So all that as a government, because Abia has really become the center of Akurolo. Everybody is looking towards Abia. People want to come back home and live. People want to come back home and invest. So it is important that we have a squeaky clean and efficient land administration system in place.
Okay, so this process now, let's assume one after meeting all the requirements needed, what should be the next thing? Will one be given certificate of occupancy?
Yes, of course.
Okay, after meeting all the
whole requirements, under 30 days. Yes.
Okay, I mean with the recertification exercise. I mean, after going through the recertification process and all that, what should one get in return after submitting all your titles?
A new title certificate of occupancy.
Okay. Okay. So, Honorable Commissioner, when you talk about 50,000 naira recertification fee, and one will be tempted to ask you, you know the economic realities on ground right now. People are suffering. Even the ones that have lands everywhere may not even be able to develop them. When you go to the market, you price a bag of cement, prices have gone up and all that. Are you considerate with the 50,000 naira recertification fee that you are compelling people to pay for this exercise? Is it not on the high side, Honorable Commissioner?
So number one, government runs on IGR. However, His Excellency had mentioned that taxation is the government's share of prosperity/value it creates for the people. In going through the recertification exercise, in having a COO in 30-day process, Abians are being given value. That's why I said your title document is no longer tissue paper, where you have an allocation letter, but you don't even know where the land is, or there's no access roads to the this thing. It gives us, it allows us to do that rigorous work, go to field, ascertain these things, check the development control, ensure that we don't have disorganized development all up and down. When you come into the Ministry of Lands and Housing, it should be working like clockwork. There's light, there's water, it's a conducive environment, files are moving, you can track your file. This is government running, and it is government powered by our resources. So on one hand, the citizens are powering the running of government. On the other hand, they are seeing the value being created. Now, when you talk about the 50,000 being corrected, I was in Edo GIS last week Friday. They also have a recertification fee of 50,000, and their recertification process is also ongoing. So if you compare what Abia State charges as a government and what the surrounding states charge, as a P2B will say, go and verify. You find out that our rates are comparable or lower, and all that. There is inflation in terms of the cost of running the government and all that. So the value of the price of something 10 years ago or 5 years ago is not the same price here. And yet we have not even increased our land rates or everything. What we are doing is ensuring deeper penetration and efficiency in our administrative system. Thank you.
Okay.